Simmons.
And I'm Lacey Wilson.
And we're very excited to have you tonight. Lacey, we have a very special program lined up.
We do. I'm really excited tonight. We are recognizing October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we have a great show lined up for you.
I am interested to hear the story that we'll hear tonight from Kim.
I am too. Kim's got a great story to share. I've known her for years, and we're just so thankful that she was willing to come on tonight and talk a little bit about her journey through her experience with cancer.
And so this is the end of October, and a lot of it has been going on for Breast Cancer Month. And I pulled up something today from the National Breast Cancer Awareness Month website. There's actually an organization dedicated just to this, this month, and it says that breast cancer is the most common cancer in women in the United States aside from skin cancer. So it's definitely something that could affect someone you know.
It is, and we often joke around, that real men wear pink, or watch Gurlfriendz or whatever. But we've also had a lot of sports teams. I don't know if you keep up with any of the football teams and the baseball teams or whatever, but especially the pro football teams, they've been wearing pink wristbands. Some of them even have pink cleats.
Some of the baseball players do that too. Yeah.
So I think that's remarkable that everybody everywhere, October, somehow in some way they decide to recognize this worthy cause and give it the attention it deserves.
And I think it's because, although it predominantly affects women, it does affect men. Not as much, but it does happen. But, even still, a woman is somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's grandmother, somebody's wife.
Yes. And we were, you mentioned men. I work at Blood Assurance, and a couple years ago, many of you remember Leonard Fant was our CEO. And several years before that, he's actually been on the cover of the calendar because he had breast cancer.
Really? It says here that speaking of men, it says an estimated 1,910 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed among men in the United States. And this was in 2009, so I don't know if that number has risen or decreased, but it affects everybody. So tonight we're going to talk about that a little bit, and we are honored to have Kelly Gaylor with us, who is a nurse at Fuller Cancer Center at Hutchinson. She is in the outpatient chemotherapy department, and also Kim Jones, who is a breast cancer survivor. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So Kelly, talk to us a little bit about early detection. They say early detection is key to, a good fight.
Early detection means a better chance of cure. And all women age 40 should be having a mammogram yearly. I know there was some confusion about a year ago when one of the agencies came out and said no, those over 40 need to have a mammogram every 2 years, over 50 every 1 year. But it actually, they still pay for it. Insurance companies still pay for it. That has not gone into effect. And they actually show that, you can develop a breast cancer in that year, and you need to be having it done yearly. Our younger women, this is not, postmenopausal disease. There are younger women who have had breast cancer, and they need to be doing their self-exams, and if they find something that's not right, they need to be going and having a medical professional look at it.
Now, we were talking earlier about if you've had a history of breast cancer in your family, then typically you would go before the age of 40. Is that right?
That is correct. I was telling you that earlier that my grandmother had bilateral mastectomies due to breast cancer, and because of her history with breast cancer, I had to have my first mammogram at age 35, and so now I'm telling my age, but that was what had to happen. And it was not bad at all. You hear all the people say, oh, it's awful. No, it's not. They now have digital mammography. They don't have to mash or hard at all. It has a lot less radiation than the prior mammograms in the past. So it's not a hard procedure. You just got to go in. Early detection is key. That's not to say that if you catch it late that there's not treatment options. There's always hope. As they always say, there's always hope, and you're going to have a treatment plan.
So if you talked about early detection and the treatment options have come a long way. So if someone's out there, they've never done a self-exam or whatever, how would they go about learning? I think you had some cards.
I did. At the Fuller Cancer Center and at Battlefield Imaging, we're right there together. We're like sisters. We're joined at the hip. So, but they also, Battlefield Imaging has a breast exam card. But we also at Fuller Cancer Center have a American Cancer Society actually has a resource center right behind our chemotherapy department. They have volunteers that run that center, and they have all kinds of information about any kind of cancer. But they have these cards, which I thought were very good because it actually lets you feel to see if there's a lump, what a lump would feel like. On self-exam, they're kind of getting away from the monthly self-exams because they feel like people get intimidated by that. The circular motion, the up and down, feeling in your armpit, all the way up to your clavicle. Those are all the areas you need to hit, but you need to make sure that you're just aware of what your breast feels like on a normal day. 7 to 10 days after your period is the best time because your breast tissue is not as dense, it's not as tender, and you can feel all those lumps. So same time every month is the best time to do it. 7 to 10 days after your period. If you're past menstruation, then you need to do just the same day of every month. But, just make sure you're aware of what your breasts feel like on any day.
Okay.
And I noticed most of your handouts are hang tags, so I think some of them are designed to hang in the shower, so
Yes.
it's a good monthly reminder.
Yes, and that is a good monthly reminder to hang it in your shower. They also say that after you do the exam in the shower, that laying down you're more likely, like laying on the bed, that you're more likely to feel a lump that way too. So do it both ways.
And caller, you can call us back and we'll take your questions or your comments. But we're sorry that we didn't get to you, so call us back. Talk to us a little bit about the Fuller Cancer Center. I think the region as a whole is very blessed to have Battlefield Imaging and the Fuller Cancer Center because I've taken a tour through there, and the technology that we have in this area is remarkable.
It is. We have a surgery center. We have a radiation at the Fuller Cancer Center. We have our chemotherapy departments. There are physicians upstairs that also do chemotherapy. And then we have Battlefield Imaging, and that is just a key element. And I actually went and talked to the girls today, and they have been giving away these free T-shirts for if you have have I got it in there? Okay. They're giving away free T-shirts if you have your mammogram done in October. But they said since October is almost done, if you mention this show, that they'll still give you a T-shirt.
All right. So mention Gurlfriendz and schedule your mammogram
That's
and
right.
get a T-shirt.
Get a T-shirt to go along with it. So.
And tell us a little bit about the mood and the setting. You were talking earlier about the chemotherapy room and the fact that it's kind of a relaxing room for people, and the mood is not as kind of gloomy as some might think.
People ask me all the time, what do you do? And I say, I'm a chemotherapy nurse. They go, oh, that must be sad. That must be terrible. It's not terrible. You are there to help those people, and we have a great time. We have parties. We like to laugh. We laugh more than we cry, and we do cry sometimes because there are times where that is necessary. But most of the time we're upbeat, we're having a good time, and we love our patients. They're our family. We have at our chemotherapy department is a eight-chair chemotherapy department, and it overlooks this most beautiful rose garden with these knockout roses that bloom like year-round, and the little bird feeders, and it's just a very relaxing area, and I'm blessed to work there.
So we talked a little bit before the show about sometimes there's not anything you can do to prevent it. Sometimes it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
But other times there are factors that can help. And tell us a little bit about that.
The biggest thing is diet, exercise, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, not being obese, because a lot of times you miss, lumps and if your breasts are large. And decreasing alcohol intake. They've actually shown that that might increase your risk if you are a heavy drinker. I'm sorry. I had gone through and looked at some things, and I had printed something off about the signs and symptoms of breast cancer. And, I think I wanted to make sure I gave every one of these, because someone might be having this symptom at home right now and think, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And they need to go have it checked out. Any new lump or mass. Now, I've always heard in the past that if it's painful, it's not cancer. That's not true. That's not necessarily true. If you have something there, you need to go have it seen about. But also swelling of all or part of the breast, even if you have no lump that is felt, skin irritation or dimpling, breast or nipple pain, nipple retraction, turning inward, that's like an inverted nipple that you don't normally have, redness, scaliness, or thickening of the nipple or breast skin, or a nipple discharge other than breast milk. Also, if you feel knots underneath your arm, then you do have lymph nodes there. Sometimes you can actually have a cancer in your breast, but it's not, you can't feel a lump there, but you will feel it in your lymph nodes. I actually had one patient who their first symptom was just a swelling of the arm.
Really?
And it was because it had involved that lymph system. And she just, even as a nurse, I missed that because I hadn't thought of that was what the problem was. And that was before I became an oncology nurse, but, I want everyone to be aware of that. And also that, if someone tells you you're too young for cancer, don't ever listen to that. You want to make sure that everyone has that checked out. Even if you're in your 20s or 30s, please go have it seen about.
Hey, caller, go ahead.
Hi, I just want to say that I know Kelly. She's a beautiful nurse. She really, really cares about her patients, and I'm glad to see her on the TV today, and to just tell her thank you for being not just a regular nurse that just goes in and does her job, but thank you for caring for her patients. I've watched her care for them through the years and can just tell you she's fabulous. It's great seeing you tonight, Kelly. I'm going to hang up now. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
I'll have to pay her later.
It's got to feel good, though. And for anybody who's had a family member who's gone through chemo, it's not just, the patient's interaction with those nurses. It's entire families sometimes. So I know the nurses really play an important role in that person's journey.
Everyone becomes like family to us. They do. I mean, and even at BI, I know that Kim will testify to that, and that everyone to us is our family. You walk through that door, you're treated like family, and you become family.
Well, before we're going to take a quick break right now, and then we're going to come back and hear from Kim and her journey. And also, if you have medical questions, Kelly will try to answer those. And we will be right back. No previous college experience and no time to attend traditional classes can now take advantage of Bethel University's College Start program from the comfort of their own homes. All Bethel students receive an iPad to facilitate learning and utilize an online learning management system that is intuitive and user-friendly. The coursework is designed to allow students to focus on one class at a time for 5 weeks before moving on to the next class. Students can create their own schedule for logging in to complete the work. Those with no previous college experience who have a GED, a high school diploma, or fewer than 30 hours of coursework can expect to complete their degree online in about half the time of traditional programs. For more information on Bethel University's new online College Start program, call 1-877-4-BETHEL. The next College Start online cohort starts October 29th, so get your applications in soon.
The Melon Patch. With the crisp weather approaching, it's time to sit back and enjoy a nice bowl of warm soup and cornbread with sweet potato pie for dessert. There's only one place to go to get all three, the Melon Patch. Go visit Karen and the staff of the Melon Patch, located on Johnson Road in Chickamauga. Also, let the Melon Patch handle your catering needs this holiday season. Call Karen at 706-375-7300 to hear about the options available to you. The Melon Patch, fresh food and friendly faces. Friday special is catfish. Saturday fried chicken and chicken casserole. Hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and they are closed on Wednesday.
And Lacey, I think that we have a gift certificate for the Melon Patch.
We do. Karen has given us a free dinner, I believe, and a drink to give away, and we'll do that for the first caller.
Let's do the third.
The third, okay.
I'm feeling adventurous. Hopefully we have 3 viewers out there.
And we get so talkative, sometimes we forget the mics are on during commercial breaks. But we had a good time. That's what happens when you get girlfriends together. So.
Yes, you're right. Okay, so call number 3. We'll take your phone call.
We also have some other giveaways,
We
too.
do. We still have, I think, a Zumba pass.
On Zumba. If you missed Zumba, it is out on YouTube somewhere, and it will never go away. But
It's
that
there
was a
forever.
good workout. It was good. If you haven't ever tried it, I highly encourage you.
Your caller number 1. Thank you.
Okay, we need 2 more callers, and you will get the Melon Patch.
You know, one cool thing about the curves and the Melon Patch is that. Oh. Your caller number 2. Thank you. Is that
What, you eat really well and then you go work it off?
well, and Karen has some really healthy recipes.
She does.
So if you're
She's
trying
got
to get
salad
healthy,
and
you
fruit.
can. Hi there. Your caller number 3.
Thank you.
Okay, and is this your name on the?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I will put it. And you know where the station is, right?
Huh?
Okay, thank you.
When can it be picked up?
Tomorrow, within the normal business hours, I think around 9 a.m.
At around 9.
Uh-huh.
So you could be headed to
Melon
Melon Patch for lunch.
Yeah, you could go tomorrow for lunch.
That sounds good.
Okay, thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so Kim, tell us a little bit about your journey. I want to hear about, the highs and the lows and all that you went through.
Well, I'm the one that was too busy to have the mammogram. So I went for a couple of years without a mammogram, and I went to my doctor for a regular checkup, and he said, I kind of feel something there. And it wasn't a lump. It was just a flat, hard area. I had invasive lobular carcinoma. So I went to Battlefield and fell in love with those people, and it's just, it's like she said, it's family. So Battlefield went for the mammogram, and then they said, you need to do the ultrasound. So they sent me down the hall for the ultrasound, and then they, hang on just a second, let me go talk to the doctor. And by then I knew something was going on because it wasn't my first mammogram. So the next week, I think it was the next week, they did the biopsy. And I found out on my birthday that I had breast cancer. And from there, things just started rolling. I mean, everything was going so fast. They just don't, when they tell you you have breast cancer, they don't mess around. They just, they're on top of it. And it was test, and it was pick a surgeon. And I ended up having chemo. Mine was stage 3 when they found it. And I had chemo, 6 rounds of chemo, and then I had a bilateral mastectomy. And then after that, there were 33 rounds of radiation, and a lot of things in between that, just a lot of complications with cancer treatment. It's kind of the gift that keeps on giving, I think. But that was 3 years ago. In my last checkup in August, everything was everything was good,
Good.
cancer-free.
Good. That's great.
And Kim, one of the things I really admire about you is your involvement with these races, with the benefits, with Relay for Life, and you actually just completed, I think, a 3-day race in Atlanta.
That was right after I was diagnosed and right after my radiation treatments. I still didn't have any hair, and it was kind of, we went to Atlanta and did a 3-day, 60-mile walk, and it was kind of, you know, to show everybody that I was okay and to prove to myself that I was still okay. So, yes, Susan G. Komen, 3-day walk in Atlanta. It was amazing. No hair, still no, you know. And, I mean, it was great. And then the local walks, I do the local walks. I think there was one 2-3 weeks ago. Did that. So, yeah.
Now talk
big
about
supporter.
your network of supporters. I know you have a great family. Your son has been so supportive.
My son, my friends, my sisters. You know, this is and you know this. You can't get through cancer without your family and your support and your friends and your coworkers and the best boss in the world. And you know, I work at the sheriff's office, so you know, every chemo treatment that I went to, it was a crowd of people with me. I mean, it was never any less than 3 or 4 people every time, and it was a party. And when I first started, there were so many people the first day, and Dr. Johnson, my doctor, came through, and I said, how many people can we have in a room before you kick us out? And he said, well, you can have half the room, but that's all. So, yeah, you got to have the support. You're only as strong as your supporters.
Hi, caller. Do you have a question?
I do. I just actually have a comment. I just want to say to Kim, congratulations, and I'm very glad that you're doing better. But I wondered if you or Kelly, either one, would touch on your attitude while going through the process, what you have to have as far as a positive attitude with dealing not only with the cancer, with the loss that you go through, because actually you do go through a grieving process, but then how you deal with your attitude on that. I'm going to hang up and listen to you. Thank you.
Should I say Kelly or Kim?
Both of us, but I think you've been through it. I think you need to answer that.
Well, you know, I wasn't the normal cancer patient, I don't think, because there was so much laughing when I was going through cancer. I mean, it was just so much laughter and it was just crazy. And you got to keep that positive attitude, you know. I mean, I can remember telling my son, it's going to be okay. And that's the hardest part of being diagnosed with cancer, is telling your friends and your family, you know, because you have to look them in the eye, and of course they think the worst, so you've got to, that's the hardest part about it. But the whole attitude and the crazy me, but it was like an experience. You know, it was like a savor every minute of this experience. And, you know, my hair started coming out, and I was like, oh, well, that's what that feels like, you know. And you're in the chemo chair and thinking, oh, that's what that's about, you know. It was just, and I knew that I was going to be okay. I never had any doubt that I wasn't going to be okay. My faith was built a lot during this time, and right from the beginning I had scripture that you will not die, but you will live to proclaim what the Lord has done for you. You know, I mean, that was just like driving home from the doctor's office, screaming in my head. So I was pretty confident I was going to be okay, and it was.
So that's where your strength came from, your faith and your support group.
Absolutely. You have to have that. I can't imagine anybody going through it without friends and family and faith and God and praying, and you know, I mean, but it's crazy to say, but we had fun. And I tell people it's kind of like when you give birth, you only remember the good stuff. You don't remember any of the bad stuff. It's just the good stuff you remember. And it's kind of nervous coming on the show because I was afraid I wouldn't even remember having breast cancer. You know, I mean, it's just when it's over, it's over, and it's back there.
We had some pictures. I don't know, Brian, if you could pull them up, but we had some pictures that Kim sent us from when you were getting your chemotherapy. So, and talk a little bit about, now who was that in the picture?
That is my friend Tracy, and that big head of me is a banner that they take around to women's things. But that's my friend Tracy, and she actually found my cancer. She did my mammogram, and I remember the day that I was at Battlefield, she sent me for the ultrasound, but walking out, I looked at her and I said, "You knew the whole time, didn't you?" I mean, and she knew right from the beginning, but Tracy saved my life. I really feel like she did, because mine wasn't the kind of cancer that you could see or touch. It was hidden deep down in there, so she saved my life. She's from Battlefield.
And
Oh, yeah, that's
this
cute.
one. I think this is just precious. Now, these are your grandchildren.
That's my grandson Damon and my granddaughter Jaden, and I have a new one now. Her name is Presley. Hey, babies. But yeah, that was during my chemo.
And I'm sure they were inspiration for you, too.
They actually live with me, and everybody says, "How did you do that with 2 little kids?" And I said, "I don't know that I could have done it without them." I mean, they were my reason to get up every day and keep going, and I was afraid that they would be scared of me with no hair, but obviously not.
And this one's the one I'm partial to. This is George Wilson, who was my husband's grandfather, and I believe this was his first day of chemo treatment.
Was that his first day?
Probably.
Okay.
He had his port put in, but I remember getting this picture, and it was just so sweet because so many people talked about what a warm presence he was in the chemotherapy room, and it all goes back to what you guys were saying, your support system and the fun that you try to have while you're there. So.
Mr. George would sing to us.
Oh.
Okay, we would be side by side in our chairs, and he would sing to the whole room. I mean,
He had a beautiful
voice. Oh,
voice.
yeah. He was. I love Mr. George.
And you guys actually did the Relay for Life, too.
We did. I
A few
couldn't
years
find those
back.
pictures. Well, we'd always done Relay for Life. We started doing Relay for Life when Sheriff Millar died at the sheriff's office, and Mr. George had been on the committee, and we had done that for years and years and years. And then, I remember the first time we walked as survivors, thinking, "How did we get on this side of this cancer walk?" But
Well, and tell me, too, because, my father-in-law, Steve, is Sheriff Wilson, where you work, and, he went through his own battle with cancer. So when you have dealt with it personally on your own, and then you hear of friends and, maybe family members who start their battle, what do you say to them to offer comfort?
first you just hug. I mean, I can remember the day that I got my diagnosis, and Sheriff was at training somewhere, and somebody called him, and he came to the office, and then the day that he got his phone call, I mean, you're just kind of in shock, but first thing you do is hug, and then say, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, and it's going to be okay.
Hi, caller. You have a question? Hey.
Hi, my name is Sandra, and I'm Kim's sister, and I just wanted to make a comment if I could.
Sure, go
Hey,
ahead.
honey. She's going to cry.
Hello?
Hey, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Kim's sister, Sandra, and I just have to say that it is part of a family. However, Kim's attitude made it possible for all of us to get through it. I mean, she led us through it, and it was just her faith and our faith that got us all to make it through this whole ordeal.
I love you.
Sweet. That's really sweet.
Sandra's
And
my...
we love you, Kim.
I love you,
And
honey.
you look beautiful.
Thank you.
She does. I love that
We were so
pink.
excited.
Yes.
I know. And
Oh,
the
gosh.
people at Battlefield were absolutely wonderful. We cannot say enough about that either. And just thank y'all, and thank you, Kim, for telling your story.
Oh, I love you. Thank you.
I love you. I love y'all.
Thanks for watching.
Okay. Goodbye.
You've actually been in a commercial for Battlefield, too.
I've done several commercials for them, and the Me and the Babies, Christmas, and that's my story. You're never too busy for a mammogram. If you think you're too busy,
Yes, tell us
yeah.
your
If you
quote
think you're
you
too
said.
busy for a mammogram, try fitting chemo into your schedule. So, and I just want to say something on a personal note. And I looked this up. Statistics for divorce with women that have cancer are like 21%. And during this, my husband left, so my sister Sandra was my main caregiver, and gosh, you know, she has been there through it all, and you have to have somebody there with you to go through it. And she was there, and I love you, Sandra.
Kim, how has your life changed since this?
Every part of my life has changed since then. I mean, every day when I get up now, I think, wow, today I get to get up and I feel good, you know, because you take for granted feeling good when you get up and you know, you go through the chemo and you go through the tasting and you don't ever even take for granted how something tastes ever again, you know. Every moment with the kids and my grandbaby, everything that happens, you're so aware of it, you know, because you think, wow, I might have missed this. I might not have been here, you know, but everything changes. And, of course, the physical changes. There's a lot of physical, physical changes and emotional. I think I've done okay with the emotional stuff, you know, because I had so much support and friends. And I think life's a lot funner now than it was before, because you get your priorities in order after you go through something like this. You realize the little things just don't matter, and the big things do matter, you know.
Now talk about back in May of 2009, you had an optical stroke and actually lost some vision in your right eye.
So lucky. If I had a quarter for every time the doctors have said, well, we've never seen that before, I could retire. One of the anti-cancer medications that I was taking, tamoxifen, which if you need tamoxifen, you have to take it. You know, there's not a lot of choices. But I had a reaction. One of the side effects was blood clots. And I happened to have a blood clot hit my right eye and lost most of the vision. I have a little bit of tunnel vision in my right eye. So they took me off the tamoxifen and put me on a Remedex. And I think I'll be on that for about 5 years. I'm not sure.
Tell us about Red Devil chemotherapy.
Let's let Kelly tell that one.
Yes, I know it. Everyone dreads the Red Devil, and it is the most awful looking color of chemotherapy, and is very red. It even turns your urine that color after you get it, and it scares people to death about after they've received Red Devil. It's used commonly in a lot of different cancers, breast cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma, those sorts of things. A lot of people have a lot of nausea with it, but they have come up with some wonderful drugs that help with this. 20 years ago, people would be, unable to function. And now with the new nausea vomiting drugs, we have about 2 or 3 of them that, you may be slightly nauseated, but you're able to function and go to work. Some people still go to work.
I never got sick the first time.
Exactly. There's a new one. Emend.
Mm-hmm.
That is the new drug, and I'm telling you, it is a miracle worker.
Hi, caller. Do you have a question?
Yes, this is Sheriff's Office.
They'll be on at 8 o'clock. Hang tight, just a few more minutes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So, and it's a 4 to 5 hour treatment.
Did you take AC? Is what you took? Okay. There's adriamycin, Cytoxin. Usually your chemotherapy, because we have to get labs on you, before each treatment. You have to see the doctor and tell them all your woes and what kind of problems you've had since the last treatment. And then we get started. And usually the actual treatment's probably about 3 to 4 hours. We give you hydration and pre-medicines. You have to eat ice.
So you don't get sores in your mouth.
So you don't get sores in your mouth. There's lots of little tricks that we do to try to keep people feeling good during their treatments. I was loving that picture of you and Mr. Wilson. Is that what you said? I've seen that so many times where someone comes in for their first treatment, and then you have the veteran who walks in there, who knows what's going on, and they go right over there to them, and they put their hand on them and go, "It's okay. I was here. I know what you're feeling," and that is so touching, because I can sit there and I can tell you all day long, you may do this, you may do that. But to hear someone else who's been there, it's priceless, absolutely priceless.
And the people in the chemo room, I was one that said, I'm sorry, your job is sad, but it's not really sad. Chemo is not.
I know, but that's okay. But everyone does that. That's okay.
We always had a party in the chemo room.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, like I said, there were 4 or 5 of us, and I remember the first time I went, I had 2 bags with me. I had my headphones and my music and books and Bibles and notepads and journals, and you know, I thought I was going to be there 4 or 5 hours, and I needed something to fill my time up. And before I knew it, we were going home. You know, everybody was laughing and joking, and you know, I mean, it's hard on people, but I never got sick, but it's hard to go through it. But everybody is in the same boat, and everybody's sitting there and going through the same thing, and it's, you know, and like you said, you do have to help the new people. I remember one girl came in and just fell completely apart, and she went to the bathroom, and I didn't even know what it was, and I kind of followed her to the bathroom, and she was completely breaking down. And you know, you just have to talk to him and say, what are you most afraid of? You know, it's okay, you're going to get through this, and it's going to be over. And it's kind of funny because when the last chemo treatment is over, that's when you kind of get scared, because okay, we were fighting it before, but now the chemo's over. Mm-hmm. What now? You kind of want the chemo to keep going, you know, or I did. But
It's almost like an insurance policy, kind of makes you feel secure.
It's a really strange feeling. It's hard to explain to people something like that.
Now, you talked before the show about maybe women who don't have medical insurance. There are places they can go to get help to get their mammograms.
And that's a part of the fundraising that I do, and all the walks and the Relay for Life and stuff, because you know, times are hard, and there are a lot of women out there that don't have insurance, and I know people that have had breast cancer and let it go because they didn't have insurance, and I have 2 friends that have actually died, you know, because they didn't have insurance. But there are places out there. At Battlefield, actually, if you call 706-806-0173 and ask for Karen, they have indigent help there, and they can help you. You fill out an application, I think is how that works. And then the Susan G. Komen in Chattanooga is 423-499-9155. So there's help out there, and if you feel something that you're afraid of or you think is suspicious, there's help out there, and you need to not put it off because of finances.
And we actually I work at Blood Assurance, and we had Memorial's mobile health coach came out too. So if there are businesses out there, that's a great way to kind of help your employees. I don't even think, you don't have to have insurance, I believe you just have to have a doctor to whom they can send the results to. So definitely don't put it off. Like Kim said, there's, you know, if you think you're too busy for a mammogram, try putting chemo into your schedule.
And Georgia Indigent, if you're a Georgia resident and you have a diagnosis that has to be treated, we treat lots of people who don't have insurance in our area. Hutchinson is wonderful about working with those that are indigent care through Georgia Indigent. And also we have financial assistance where they try to walk you through a process of getting on Medicaid or Medicare or disability. They try to help you with that process. Navigation, you know, that's a big term in cancer care, navigating those patients through the system. And do not, because you do not have insurance, if you have something that's going on, please call those numbers, Karen, our Battlefield Imaging, or you can call us at the Fuller Cancer Center.
And what number can they reach you at?
I'm actually in the chemotherapy department at 706-858-2442.
And I guess someone's out there and they may have just found out that they had cancer. What would you say to them? What encouraging word would you give them to help them know that they can fight this?
What would I say? Gosh, you know, I would just say just hold on and just, it's cancer, you know, I mean, it's not, you kind of become the cancer, and it kind of takes over your life, and for a while nobody talks about anything else except the cancer and everything, but you know, it's going to be over, and it's you're going to go, I mean, a lot of women, when they find the cancer, just have to have a lumpectomy. Not just, but, you know, they catch it early enough, unlike some of us, and they have just to have a lumpectomy. And then you go through the chemo sometimes, but it's over, you know? I mean, it doesn't last forever. When I was first told that I had cancer, my first thought was, well, let's do something. You know, I didn't want to waste a single day. I wanted to do something right then, and that's what I would say. Just get in there and fight. Just fight it with everything you got.
That's a lot of times on their first day I say, let's start fighting. Let's start fighting. Let's get this going. That's basically what I normally say.
Really?
Because in the last 10 years, technology has just come a long way.
We have targeted therapies. They have come such a long way on those biopsies. They're able to tell what hormones the cancer responds to. There's something called HER2/neu. If it is on the cell on the cancer, that actually increases its growth. There's a new drug called Herceptin that you're able to take. If you're and it's all specific. And I want to make sure also, if you hear, like, you know, your neighbor goes, oh, I took that chemotherapy and it just made me so sick, I wouldn't do that to da-da-da-da-da. No. Every cancer is different. Every treatment, they're a little bit different, and everyone responds differently. Do not go on what someone else has happened, because a lot of those new targeted agents, they are not the type that will make you sick. And we have drugs to take care of that now with the amend and the Zofran.
The red devil.
And take care of that red devil. We're going to kick him.
Now, Kim, you said, kind of in the back of your mind is the fear that, tomorrow is going to be the day that your fight starts all over again. So how do you, I guess, mentally get over that every day, or do you ever?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not like you dwell on it, but if there's an ache or a certain pain or something, you always think, because in the beginning with all this, they tell you what can happen. They give you the worst case scenario, so you know what might happen. So there's that back there that they said might happen, and even though it's been 3 years and it's been clean and everything since then, you're always thinking, oh, they said my bones, it might come back in my bones. And so you're always thinking that, but it kind of gives you an edge on the day, because if this is my last day, then gosh, it's going to be a good one. Mm-hmm. If this is the last day I get to feel good, because it just happens so fast. One day I joked, at 9 o'clock I was fine and healthy, and 10 o'clock I had breast cancer.
On your birthday.
On my birthday! That's so crazy.
What did you do that day? Because I'm sure you probably had plans to go eat or.
Well, I went out with my girlfriend Sherry, and we went to Ruby Tuesdays, and we laughed and joked, and I was like, oh man, dang, I don't know, I'm really not crazy, but we just laughed. We just laughed a lot, and we cried, but that day we just joked about it. Joked about what are you going to do? Are you going to sit and cry and wallow? And, let's just, I think laughing is the very best thing ever. And if anything that you can laugh about is going to be better.
So have you maybe taken any risk since then? A lot of times on the show we talk about women in business and maybe things that they were wanting to do but they kind of held back on. As far as kind of adventure taking, has this caused you to maybe go for something you would have normally been reserved with, or were you kind of a go-getter before?
I was before. I had I just graduated college in June or July, right before my diagnosis in September. I just finished 4 years of college and was getting ready to work on my master's in counseling. But now I have the babies, and this is what I'm doing now, is taking care of babies. And no, I have not bungee jumped or skydived.
Have you had any counseling classes in your undergrad work?
Mm-hmm.
So did that help you?
I think that helped me a lot, because my major was crisis intervention kind of studies. So, yeah, that.
And what made you want to go back to school?
I said I was going to graduate college by the time I was 50. It's just something that I had always wanted to do, and I thought, man, you better get started. So I did. I graduated. I was 50 when I graduated, so
So you did.
I did it.
set
So,
out
you know,
the
if there
goal
was
and achieved it.
if there was something that I wanted to do, I would. But right now, I'm just, I just appreciate the little things and working in my yard. I'd never worked in my yard before, and now I like to plant things and see things grow. And but if I wanted to skydive, I've just never felt the urge.
Why would you want to jump out of a
Perfectly good.
Unless it's going down, I'm not jumping out.
Oh, and now, Kelly, tell us why you wanted to become a nurse.
Well, I guess I was always kind of the caretaker of most everyone that I was around. So one of my cousins suggested to me that she thought she was going to nursing school, and she said, I think you'd make a good nurse. And so I said, okay. 4 years later, after college, I became a nurse. I was in ICU and CCU, and then I went to outpatient. And then outpatient at Hutchinson took in the chemotherapy department. And so we were all having to be trained in that. And then once I went into oncology, it was my love. It was, that was, because honestly, they're the best patients you'll ever have as a nurse. You don't meet a mean person that is an oncology patient. I mean, they're really the salt of the earth. They care for you just as much as you care for them.
But that's because y'all are different. Y'all, the cancer specialist medical professionals y'all are a different group. I mean, it's not like going to a regular doctor and just being all frustrated. I mean, when anybody, the whole time that I've ever had to deal with anybody medically during this, y'all are just different.
Different breed, huh?
Different, yes. You love your patients, and you can tell, and we can feel that. It's just different. The doctors and the nurses, and even the staff. Even when you walk in the door and they say, "Hey, sunshine," I mean, where do you go to the doctor that they say something?
Not very many places.
Sorry.
And I imagine that, when you're facing a battle like that, that's very important to be uplifted. And just the little things.
Yeah.
Just to feel like you're that you're walking into a place where everyone knows your name, kind of thing. I don't mean to make a reference, but that it's just everyone's like, oh hey, I'm so glad to see you, and that you're doing well, and and we want to take care of our patients, because we want them to do well and to get that cure that they seek.
And everything is right there on the parkway, everything at the battlefield. I never left the center there. I mean, everything, I had my chemo there, my radiation there, my surgery there, Dr. Heithold. I mean, everything was done right there at the center, so it was very convenient, and for my family, to be there, and my friends to be there, and it's just amazing. There's no need to go to Chattanooga or anywhere.
Yeah,
this is the best care around.
Very. And, I mean, their technology is really state-of-the-art compared to some of the regional places.
Mm-hmm.
When we did that tour, it's just even decorated very nicely, like you guys made mention of earlier.
Our doctors, our oncology doctors, are the same ones in Chattanooga. We have several different groups, but they see patients in Chattanooga, and they also see patients on Fort O.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the same well-trained oncology physicians.
I think that's something just to be said for North Georgia. We get so prone to, going to Chattanooga to go out to eat, to go to the movies, to do everything. And, the fact that you can be diagnosed with cancer, to battle cancer, to have surgery, to have your chemo all without going to Chattanooga, I think that's remarkable. Like you said, Kim, it has to be a huge benefit, for families, because sometimes, people tend to drive their loved ones,
And the radiation, I mean, that was 33 treatments every day that you had to be there at that certain time. And going to Fort Oglethorpe instead of going to Chattanooga was just so much easier, And even now, if I'm in the area, I'll stop in there and go visit everybody all over the place, because they're friends. They're not just nurses and doctors that took care of me. They're friends for life.
Mm-hmm. And everyone talks about how it's so easy to park there.
And you don't have to pay. Yay!
You don't have to pay the card.
And they
You know,
have special parking for breast cancer patients.
they do.
I never
They
used
do.
it, but
Yeah. And the radiation, it is like going to a job. It is 5 days a week. And a lot of times, like you said, the families bringing those patients, and they have to work. And we try to make it convenient for those patients and their family members. Caregivers also, there's lots of information for them in the Resource Center about the stresses of being a caregiver. And that is significant because not just one person is affected by this, the whole unit, the whole family is affected by it.
So tell us one more time, if they haven't yet scheduled their mammogram, they can mention the show and get a free T-shirt.
That's right. That's right.
So even more incentive, which they should do it anyway, but to get a T-shirt.
And they offer self-pay. If you don't have any form of insurance, it's $99 for the mammogram and the exam, or for them to actually read the mammogram, the radiologist. So it's a flat $99. But if you're not even able to afford that, don't wait. I mean, there is a benefit in Georgia Indigent.
Hi, caller. Thank you for watching. Do you have a question?
I don't have a question, hon. I have a comment. My husband has been at the outpatient just about 2-3 weeks ago, and broke a high and put in a good word. I hear the sweetest thing. That is the most efficient place I've ever been in. And I just wanted to tell you that. And it's just really wonderful to go somewhere where you feel like, you can just be welcomed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. And Kim, that verse that you made reference to on your biography is Psalms 118:17. That you said really carried you through.
oh, it did. And I never knew that verse, I graduated from seminary, but I'd never heard that before, and it was just, boom, right there it was in my head. And I thought, man, that's a message, just, it's going to be fine.